Hello, hello, hello everybody, and welcome to Kobe's Classroom, the visual guide for the fight Everkeep Extreme, fighting Zeralja. For this fight, we need our standard pairs. Quickly, before we start, if you're playing Dark Knight, there's a very small optimization here, where you can pop TBN and run into the wall to pop it, giving you a free Dark Arts at the start of the fight. Alright, let's actually get started with Actualize, a raid-wide AoE. This hits pretty hard, so make sure to heal, shield, and mitt through it. Multi-directional divide will create these lines on the ground that will expand in a lattice shape, leaving us with square safe spots. At the same time, Zeralja will use either back half or forward half, and one of his swords will glow. If he uses back half, he's going to jump backwards, cleave everything in front of him, and on the side of the glowing sword, leaving a triangle safe spot. We need to find the spot that's safe from both of these attacks, which is on the side without the glowing sword. If he uses forward half, he's going to jump forward, turn 180 degrees, and then cleave. So the safe spot is actually on the side with the glowing sword. We get another set of multi-direction divide and regicidal rage, which will place 2 tank buster tethers on random players. Stack up and let the tanks take them. Dawn of an Age will reduce the arena to a small 4x4 platform before showing 4 copies of it. If you have trouble with this mechanic, you can assign a Danger Dorito player and just follow them. Vollok places swords on the adjacent platforms. Sync will select 2 platforms that are next to each other. The swords on these platforms are going to be cloned onto our platform. At the same time, Zeralja will use half full, cleaving the side of the arena with his glowing sword. Be safe from the cleave and the swords. Next, we get Greater Gateway. This is the swords and tethers mechanic from normal. However, this time we have 2 elemental tethers. If a sword is passing through a fire tether, it's going to cleave 3 rows. If a sword is passing through wind, it's going to do a knockback on each side of it, which you can knockback immune. Blade Warp will place these swords. 1 is always going through an element, 2 are going through the normal tethers. I usually look at the elemental one first to determine if I need to be close or far from it. Then work out which rows are safe from the other 2. The swords move, and hopefully you're safe. Again, you can Danger Dorito this. Immediately after, we get these yellow pyramids, which just mean we need to spread into separate tiles. You can just YOLO this spread. Actualize will move us into the next mechanic, Projection of Triumph. This will be the hardest mechanic in the fight. So we get this 4x4 grid of swords on the ground. and some lines of circles and donuts. When these lines collide with a sword, they will either do a point blank AoE or a donut. The snapshot for the donuts is shit, so prepare to be hit by it. You can also just stand between the point blank AoEs because they're not very big. The lines continue moving, and a second set of lines spawn. At the third set of AoEs, Zerolja will start to use forward half or back half. Avoid the third set first, then move into the safe spot from this attack. The fourth set of AoEs happens shortly after, and that's pretty much the end of this mechanic, but it can be pretty hectic. At the end, we get some Regicidal Rage tank busters, so be ready to grab those tethers. This mechanic will happen again later in the fight. The only difference is, instead of forward half or back half, Zerolja will instead use half circuit. For this, he will be cleaving half the arena with one sword, and two swords will either be in the hitbox for a point blank AoE, or outside of the hitbox for a donut. We need to avoid both, and then immediately after we have the fourth set of shapes again. It can be pretty tricky. Alright, with that done, next up is Projection of Turmoil. If you're in Party Finder, this is what people call Bagel Strat. Let's get some waymarks and remove Zerolja for this because we don't need to pay attention to him right now. Everyone's going to get a projection debuff that will put a light party stack on you after you get hit by the line, which will cleanse it. To do this, we just stand in these waymarks at assigned positions. The tanks are going to get hit first. This will hurt a lot because they're taking it solo. You need to use at least 2 mids. Afterwards, they're going to join D1 for their stack, and then the group ends up just moving down the line until we get to the final stack with everyone. This also happens a second time in the fight. The only difference is that Zerolja will use half full 4 times. You can just hop over the center line when you see which side he's cleaving. After this we get a tank buster, Bitter Whirlwind, which will hit 3 times. Just have your main tank invuln this one, and the off tank invuln the one after the second projection of Turmoil. If your main tank is a warrior, they can actually just invuln both. Alright guys, we're nearly there. Dawn of an Age 2 is our last new mechanic. We get 2 of the small platforms for this one. Drummer Vollok will give all players of one role an enumeration, which is just a partner stack. We do range and melee range at the front of the platform. The role partners without the enumeration will get knocked over to the other side. Vollok places a large sword this time, covering 4 tiles, and as you guessed, this will start to sink. Aero 3 gives us the spread pyramids. One quadrant at the front of each platform will always be safe from these swords. We do the spreads there. Melee at the front, range at the back. Everything resolves, and we get a green twister on the right side of each platform. Forward or back half will make one platform unsafe. Those players need to use the tornado to jump over. If you get a pattern like this, there is a small safe spot right next to the tornado that you can use. You should note here that the forward or back half will cleave the front row and half of the platform with his glowing sword. Duty's Edge is a huge line stack that will hit multiple times and apply a stacking magic phone each time, so use mitts. Have the tanks in front just in case. Burning Chains will tether one roll to the other, and the players that haven't been in the tornado yet will need to use it to jump across and break the chain. As they're flying across, the other players can move to the back of the platform to help break it. This ends with Actualize. And that's all the new stuff. We get Projection of Triumph 2, which has the donut or point blank AoE I mentioned earlier. We get Projection of Turmoil 2, which has the half full cleaves, just look out for them. We get Dawn of an Age 3, which works pretty much identical to the first one, but we get the spread pyramids after the first swords and a Duty's Edge in between. And then the fight will end with another multi-directional divide into enrage. If you manage to clear, congratulations. If not, you'll get it next time. I hope you enjoyed watching. You can leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you want. I'm streaming pretty much every day on Twitch, and I might start streaming on YouTube soon. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.